Hey guys, it's Crawford, Life Transformation Coach, and today we're going to talk about having a mental illness. So, I am going to get a little personal today in my video, and I'm going to share with you what it's like for me to have a mental illness, which is major depression disorder. And I do have a little bit of generalized anxiety. It's not too severe, but sometimes it can get paralyzing. I'll talk about that one first since I've already kind of segued into it. But my anxiety sometimes it comes around when I have challenges that are scary for me. So I'll tell you, I think the first time that I remember having like a real anxiety, like panic attack, it was years ago. And what happened was I was working on my self-confidence and my networking. So really long time ago, like maybe 5 years ago, probably it was before I became a life coach. I knew that I wanted to become a life coach, but I'm an introvert and I'm not that good with social settings. And even to this day, like, I'm not that great in social settings. Like, I mean, I can be if I'm comfortable enough in the setting, but as far as meeting new people and not knowing anyone in a social setting, like, that's stressful for me, and that creates anxiety for sure. So I wanted to try to challenge myself to kind of network and meet new people, get out there. I had made these business cards at the time and I was feeling excited about that, but I was like, how can I be excited about these business cards if I can't pass them out to anyone? And I remember around the time I was going to these Toastmaster meetings, which is, if you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's like a course kind of where it's a meetup, but it's free and they help you to work on speaking in front of audiences. And this is something that I was doing. I was kind of just doing all the things that I felt like I needed to do in order for me to be this life coach that I am today. But at that time, I didn't have the confidence that I have today to speak in front of an audience, or to speak on the phone with a client, or to get into a room of people that I don't know and introduce myself as a life coach. And I was trying to do these things that would expose me more to the things that I needed, and I had so much anxiety about it. So I remember there was a networking event that I pulled up to, and I remember sitting in the car and like crying, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this, like, oh my god, like, I was so scared. And I just pep talked myself into getting in there, and I did, and I stayed in there. Like, I met a few people. I put a brave face on, and I probably didn't attempt to do that again for probably another year or so, but I did it. And that's kind of where I first remember having like real anxiety. And now it's really around those kinds of things. So, and whenever I have to up level in my coaching business, like do the next thing that's vulnerable for me, or that makes me nervous, or that I'm anxious about, like, excuse me, I'm sorry. Even still to this day, I get anxious about getting on the phone with certain people, like maybe people that might seem intimidating, like they may have like an intimidating aura about them or something. I still have anxiety around that, but I'm much better at it today than I was. I definitely worked on myself over the years, as far as confidence goes, and as far as pushing myself. But that's mostly where my anxiety comes from, when I have to do things that are scary for me, and are pretty vulnerable for me to expose myself to. And there has been a time where I was so anxious and I had so much anxiety, I was just paralyzed in fear. Like, I didn't do anything. I didn't even do the other things in work that I was supposed to be doing every day. I was just stuck, like, paralyzed every day, I wouldn't work on my business. I would just do everything else that distracted me from thinking about my business, because I knew that getting back to work was going to require me to do the next step. I don't even remember what that next step was when I was paralyzed. It was probably starting the phone calls. That's probably what it was, because that's the thing I have the most anxiety about. But I was paralyzed for, I'm going to say, like 3 months maybe. There was also a bout of depression, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, that I was dealing with as well. So I know that that didn't help. And being healthier in the mind definitely helped me with getting out of that state of fear and anxiety too. But that's how bad my anxiety would get, is where I would be paralyzed and I just wouldn't do anything surrounding whatever it was that like I was fearing. And then my depression, I've been dealing with for a long time. I would probably say that I noticed it starting when I was probably around 20, and I was married, and my partner had anger issues. So, I would have these bouts of depression. I started antidepressant medicine, and then when I got out of that marriage, I felt pretty good. I was pretty healthy. I was going to the gym, and I felt like I didn't need that medicine anymore. I went off that medicine and I was pretty good, probably until I had another partner that was like extremely stressful to deal with. And that's probably when I went back on medications. And I think, that area of my life is the most stressful for me. So if I don't have that in order, it's like a trigger for me. And so antidepressants, going to therapy, I deal with, but I've also had bouts of depression, like the one I told you about, that's very similar to the paralyzing anxiety. I've had bouts of paralyzing depression as well, where like I just was so depressed every day that I really didn't do anything, wasn't motivated like to do anything, wasn't interested in doing anything, wasn't doing any of the things that I used to love to do, which is like, it's a pretty severe form of depression, because you can have functioning depression, which I've had before too, where you can still go to work and do what you need to do, and if it gets beyond functioning depression, that's when like you can't control your emotions, and like you have anger bouts, or you might have crying sessions or something at work, and you have to go to the bathroom and like get yourself together. That's when it's severe. And I've had that happen to me before. And there was a job that, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like that job in the first place. But I definitely was dealing with some depression around the time that I had that job. Some of the depression was surrounding that working for other people part. Like, I'm made to work for myself, and it depresses me to work for other people. And at the time, I felt like I had to, and going to that job every day was like depressing me even more. But then the people at the job were acting extra depressing as well, and it caused me to be pretty irritable, as well as, sorry about that, caused me to be pretty irritable, and it made it a little bit hard for me to hide like my facial expressions when I would feel irritable, or I would feel sad, like monotone or depressed, because I just would hate coming to that job every day and having to get through that whole day. Like, I still remember what I felt like every day. It was a drag, like 8 to 5. Like, oh my God, this is killing me. And every time I would find something to try to help me get through the day, they would be hating. Like, I would try to listen to music or something in my ear while I'm doing my work or whatever, and they'd be like, you can't listen to music. Like, it's not disturbing anyone. I can still hear the phone ring. I do bulk of the work around here. You're doing the most. And so, like, I lost that job because I responded to them pretty, not ideally, like professionally because of my depression. And so I know that happens like with a lot of people who deal with their own depression and aren't able to work and end up getting put on disability and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to share my experience today because I know that like I've divulged that I deal with depression and anxiety myself, but I know a lot of people watch my videos, but they don't know the extent to what I've dealt with before. And I kind of wanted to share that with you guys so you know that like no matter how bad it gets, yes, I've gotten to the point of even being suicidal before, multiple times. And I've also been in the position before where I really like hated myself, and I felt so ashamed that I had depression and that I had to take medicine for it. And I just want for you guys out there that are dealing with things like that to know that no matter how depressing or discouraging or severe it seems like, or it is, for you to deal with your depression, that there's still hope and that you can change your life around the way that I have, which is why I do what I do. It's why I'm a life transformation coach, because I want to be able to help people that are like you out there watching my videos and that understand what it's like to deal with depression and anxiety and other mental health issues, to the severity of the way that I've dealt with it, and still have the hope of being able to change your life around and for it to make an 180-degree turn, because it can be hard to see the possibility of doing that when you're in it and when you don't have examples around you or you don't see anybody that has been able to do that for themselves. Because we see a lot of people who are inspirational and motivational, and you want to be able to have hopes the way that they were, but you don't know the extent of what they dealt with, and you sometimes feel alone, or you feel like, well, it's not possible for me, but it is possible for you. So that was the purpose of me sharing my video with you today about having my mental illness. Hopefully that was helpful to someone out there and that you got some value out of that. If you would like to book a session with me, you can email me at Shan, like Jackie Chan, CHAN @beautyofgrowth.com, and I'll put the link to book on my calendar somewhere around this video so you can have easy access to that. And if I don't see you on my calendar, then hopefully I'll see you in another video. Bye.